Charlesease, everything you need to know when you need to know it, man. Tapping right back in, subscribe, share, like, man. Hit that bell button, that's that notification, so when I upload this heat, you getting it first, man. You getting it first, greatly appreciate it, man. But check this out, man. That Jim Jones and Nas been really cooking, man. You feel me? They had a past tension, you feel me? But over the years, it kind of died down, and then Jim decided to jump out the window recently when he said he was more relevant than Nas, man. That kind of created some shit. And then, you know, Nas took all he could take, man. Then he dropped what they calling it an alternate verse on Raekwon's The Emperor's New Clothes. You feel me? The song on Meriton, fire. Salute to Raekwon, man. Putting it down once again, how we only know him to do. You feel me? How we only know him to do. But check this out. And see, recently Raekwon came out and said that alternate verse wasn't a Jim Jones diss by Nas. You feel me? It wasn't a Jim Jones diss. Salute to Raekwon. You feel me? For trying to mediate. You know what I mean? Trying to be the bigger guy. You know. Because, you know, he ain't want that on his jacket saying that Nas dissed. Him providing a platform for Nas to diss Jim Jones. Ray ain't want that on his, you know, he ain't want that on his jacket. Salute to Ray. But Ray, it's a different way you could have did it, which would probably have been better. We gonna say that. And Ray, salute to you once again. You probably saved Jim Jones from that Ether 2.0, which is a lot of talk about. It's a lot of rumblings and it's picking up traction. Yeah, you probably saved Jim Jones' career, my good brother. You feel me? But Ray, it's another way you could have handled the alternate verse. What deemed to be the alternate verse that everybody's saying that it's a diss track to Jim Jones. You feel me? Now, Ray, you came out and you said that wasn't a diss verse. You feel me? You went political, you know, being an elder statesman and kept the peace. But you could have went at it in a better way, this way, to make sure that anybody who was fucking with that dipset brand, that Jim Jones brand, wouldn't look at you funny. You could have, Ray, you could have came out and said, listen, I heard the original Nas verse for the America. It sounded like he took shots at some people. So to be safe, to play safe, I took it off the album. You feel me? To be safe, I took it off the album, and I asked Nas, possibly could he do another verse? Could he submit another verse? Or you could have cleaned it up and said, Nas, what else you got? I like this verse, but I think you got more for a song such as Omerta. You feel me? Opposed to Raekwon just coming out and saying flat out it wasn't a diss record. You feel me? But that's not holding much weight, being that we heard the shots. You feel me? We heard what Nas said. We seen Nas in a battle before. You feel me? We know what led up to this alternate Nas verse. We know what Jimmy said. We know the tension that was there, the history that's there. You feel me? So we know it's a good chance this was a diss verse, not record, but verse. It was only a verse. You feel me? Let's not overstate it. You feel me? Words can do a lot of damage. Whether it's a song, whether it's a verse, whether it's a few lines, the right words at the right time with the right delivery could do a lot of damage. And Raekwon, he's smart. Ray, chef, you smart. You came out and chose to do damage control. You feel me? Because you knew this could possibly have a blowback with your Jim Jones fans, with your Dipset fans, whatever, you know, certain fans that you know, they look at Jimmy in a certain light, man. You feel me? But I just thought Ray, if you'd have came out and been like, you know what, that seemed like a diss verse, Nas. You feel me? So I'm asking you to maybe come up with another verse or use that as a backup verse. You feel me? You know. But hey, I don't want people to think I'm using my platform to promote tension, to promote rap beef. You know, we all seen where that went in the past. You feel me? I mean, Ray could have played it up like that. It'd have been beautiful if Ray would have said, it sounded like he took some shots, so I asked him to submit another verse. You feel me? You feel me? I had some questions. I had some questions about that Nas verse, the original Nas verse from America. So I asked him, did he have a backup verse that we can use? You know, that would have been, but for you to come out and Ray, and we love you, man, and the Emperor's New Clothes, it's another one of those, man. It sounds like you got that RZA touch, man. It's another one of those. It's another one of those straight dope, man. You feel me? But everybody know it was shots taken at Jimmy, man. Right. No matter how much you try to save face, everybody know it was shots taken at Jimmy, man. So for you to just come out and be like, nah, that wasn't no diss track, and we can hear it in your voice. You feel me? We can hear the a little bit of stress in your voice when you mention it. That nah, that wasn't no diss track to Jimmy. We get it. You feel me? You being the bigger guy, you don't want it to come across as you giving your platform to somebody promoting a diss track. That's commendable, right? That's very commendable. You feel me? But however, if you just said, yo, this verse that Nas dropped, it seemed questionable to me, and I don't want to promote that type of energy on my platform. Do you have another verse you could submit for the Omerta record? You feel me? And that would have totally, Ray, that would have totally wiped your hands clean of having anything to do with this. Now, alternate verse leaking, that alternate verse leaking ain't got nothing to do with you, Ray. You feel me? Ain't got nothing to do with you whatsoever. You know, for all intents and purposes, that could have been a Nas fan. That could have even been a hip-hop fan who got a hold of that verse and just threw it out there. You feel me? But it looked a little bit funny when you said that was completely not a diss verse, not a diss record. You feel me? Because we all seen how lines take on a life of their own. You feel me? Yeah, lines, powerful lines in hip-hop, diss lines in hip-hop could take on a life of their own. And 10 years down the road, if that verse was originally kept on the Raekwon song on Omerta, it could, 10 years down the road, it could be looked back up on and say that Omerta was a Jim Jones diss record. When all it was a verse, maybe a couple lines of Jimmy. You feel me? So I commend you for getting out in front of that, man. We commend you for getting out in front of that. You feel me? But I'm just saying it might have looked a little bit better if you just said, yo, it sounded like it could have been questionable shots against a certain artist. So I asked Nas, did he have another verse he could submit instead of this one? You feel me? Because I'm not into letting my platform to promote beef or diss records or anything. You feel me? You know, I don't know. Maybe Ray would have thought that was, that's too much explaining. You feel me? Yeah, it's a good chance Ray be like, nah, that's too much explaining. You feel me? That's too many excuses. You feel me? That's that ain't what we do here. You feel we all grown men. You feel me? I'm just gonna flat out come out and say, yo, it wasn't a diss verse. I keep wanting to call. See, that goes to prove my point well. A few powerful lines can can make that shit a whole diss record, can make that shit labeled a whole diss record. Cause it was only a verse, and I want to say a whole, I keep wanting to say a diss record, a diss track, when it was probably at best a diss verse, but at best really probably a couple lines, you feel me, headed towards Jim Jones' way, on Jim Jones' his landing strip, if you might say. Bird Gang, yeah. Nas threw a couple shots, a couple missiles towards Jim Jones' landing strip. His teleport, you feel me? His heliport, you feel me? It was only a couple lines, but a couple lines at the right time by the right person. It seems like it's a whole damn song, man. It just seems like a whole damn song. I don't know. Crazy. Shit. Some people say all it takes is a line or two to bait the opposition. To hop their ass in that skillet. To hop their ass in that skillet, to get their ass fried and turn the fire up on them. You feel me? All it takes is a couple lines to bait a person, man. To bait a rapper, to bait a artist. You feel me? To bait Jim Jones, man. Your boy charlesease. Subscribe, share, like. Drop all comments down below, man. Drop all comments down below. It's greatly appreciated. That's my time. Until next time, I'm out of here. You dig? Peace. Yeah.